The year is 1945, but the world doesn't celebrate. The familiar Allied victory is a distant echo, a fading dream. Instead, a chilling reality has set in. The Nazis have won the war. Their vile ideology casts a long, dark shadow across the globe. This is a world where hope struggles to survive, a world where the jackboot crushes dissent, a world where the swastika, a symbol of hate, flies over conquered nations. This isn't just a different outcome, it's a fundamental fracture in history. The very fabric of reality has been torn apart and restitched, leaving a world disfigured by Nazi triumph. The consequences are terrifying. Democracy withers and dies. Human rights are trampled under the heel of Nazi boots. The world stands on the precipice, staring into an abyss of oppression. The air is thick with fear. The stench of death lingers in the air. This is the story of a world where the Nazis won. The heart of Europe, once a vibrant tapestry of cultures and nations, is now a subjugated land. The Nazi jackboot has stamped out any semblance of resistance. The once proud nations of Britain and France, symbols of defiance against Nazi aggression, are broken and defeated. Britain, the island nation that stood alone against the Nazi onslaught, has become a grim caricature of its former self. The Union Jack, once a symbol of freedom, has been replaced by the Nazi flag. King George VI, a figurehead of resistance, is either dead or a puppet in the hands of his Nazi masters. Winston Churchill, the lion who roared defiance, is silenced, his voice extinguished by the hangman's noose. France, once a beacon of liberty, equality and fraternity, is now a vassal state of the Third Reich. The French spirit, the spirit of revolution, is crushed under the weight of Nazi occupation. The streets of Paris, once echoing with the laughter of children, now reverberate with the marching boots of the Gestapo. The French people, once proud and defiant, are now shadows of their former selves, their spirit broken by defeat. Across Europe, the story is the same. The Gestapo, the eyes and ears of the Nazi regime, are everywhere. While Europe cowers under the iron fist of Nazi rule, the East has become a scene of unimaginable horror. The Nazis, fueled by their twisted ideology, have unleashed a genocidal campaign, the likes of which the world has never seen. This is the terrifying reality of General Plan Ost, the systematic extermination and enslavement of the Slavic people. Millions of innocent men, women and children are slaughtered in a campaign of unimaginable brutality. From the Baltic Sea to the Caucasus Mountains, the land is soaked in the blood of the innocent. The Nazis, driven by their racist dogma, view the Slavs as subhuman, fit only for extermination or enslavement. The vast expanse of the Soviet Union, once a symbol of communist might, has become a graveyard. The cities lie in ruins, shattered remnants of a bygone era. The once fertile fields are now barren, poisoned by the blood of the dead. The survivors, haunted by the horrors they have witnessed, are left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. The Nazis have turned murder into an industrial process. The horrors of the Holocaust, a term that will forever be etched in the annals of history, have reached an unimaginable scale. The Nazis, emboldened by their victory and fueled by their hateful ideology, have expanded their campaign of extermination. No longer confined to the Jews, the net of death has been cast wider, ensnaring millions more innocent victims. The Roma, targeted for their nomadic lifestyle and perceived inferiority, are rounded up and exterminated. The disabled, deemed a drain on the resources of the Reich, are systematically murdered in a chilling echo of the Nazi eugenics program. LGBTQ+ individuals, their very existence deemed a threat to the Nazi ideal of racial purity, are persecuted with a vengeance. The concentration camps, once a horrifying symbol of Nazi cruelty, have become even more brutal. Auschwitz, Dachau, Treblinka, these names, synonymous with death and suffering, have become a byword for the depths of human depravity. The Holocaust stands as a stark warning to future generations. Section 5 Africa and the Middle East. Nazi ambitions in the south. With their grip on Europe secure, the Nazis turn their attention south towards the riches of Africa and the Middle East. Driven by their insatiable thirst for power and resources, they envision a vast colonial empire stretching from the Atlantic coast of Africa to the oil-rich fields of the Middle East. North Africa, with its strategic importance and proximity to Europe, is the first to fall. The Suez Canal, a vital artery of global trade, falls into Nazi hands, granting them control over the flow of goods and resources between East and West. The British colonies in East Africa, weakened by years of war and cut off from their European masters, are overrun by the Nazi war machine. The Middle East, with its vast oil reserves, becomes a key target for Nazi expansion. The oil fields of Iraq and Iran fall under their vast expanse of Asia. The Nazi victory has created a precarious balance of power. Japan, the other major Axis power, has carved out its own sphere of influence, controlling large swathes of territory in East Asia and the Pacific. The relationship between these two totalitarian regimes, united by their shared enemies but divided by their own ambitions, is one of uneasy alliance and simmering rivalry. China, weakened by years of war and internal strife, is unable to resist the Japanese onslaught. The Chinese people, subjected to brutal occupation and exploitation, become a source of cheap labor for the Japanese war machine. Southeast Asia, with its rich natural resources and strategic location, is also brought under Japanese control, becoming a key part of their expanding empire. The division of Asia between these two totalitarian powers creates a dangerous dynamic. The Nazis, driven by their ideology of racial superiority, view the Japanese as inferior despite their alliance. The Japanese, for their part, are wary of Nazi ambitions. Section 7, the Nazi-American equation, an uneasy truce or a cataclysmic showdown. Across the Atlantic, the United States watches the unfolding events with a mixture of apprehension and dread. The Nazi victory in Europe, once unthinkable, has become a terrifying reality. The United States, spared the physical devastation of war but deeply shaken by the Nazi triumph, faces a stark choice: seek an uneasy peace with the Nazi regime or prepare for a potential showdown that could decide the fate of the world. The isolationist sentiment that once characterized American foreign policy has been shattered by the Nazi victory. The United States, recognizing the global threat posed by the Nazi regime, begins a massive military build-up, fortifying its defenses and developing powerful new weapons. The relationship between the United States and Nazi Germany is fraught with tension and mistrust. The Nazis, emboldened by their victory, view the United States as a potential rival, a sleeping giant that must be contained or eliminated. The possibility of a direct military confrontation between these two superpowers hangs heavy in the air. Section 8. Nazi technological terror. Reaching for the stars while wielding the atom. The Nazi thirst for power knows no bounds. With their grip on Europe secure and their ambitions extending across the globe, the Nazis dedicate their considerable resources to achieving technological dominance. Two projects in particular, both shrouded in secrecy and driven by a chilling ambition, become the hallmarks of Nazi technological terror: the quest for space and the development of the atomic bomb. Werner von Braun, a brilliant but morally compromised German scientist, finds himself in a world where his dreams of space exploration are twisted to serve the Nazi regime. The V-2 rocket, a terrifying weapon that rained destruction on London during the war, becomes the foundation for a Nazi space program, fueled by a desire to conquer the heavens and assert their dominance over the stars. Meanwhile, in a secret laboratory hidden deep beneath the German countryside, another group of scientists toils away on a project of even greater destructive potential: the atomic bomb. The Nazis see the atomic bomb as the ultimate weapon, a tool to hold the world hostage and achieve their dreams of global domination. Section 9. A world adrift in a sea of tyranny, the end of freedom. The Nazi victory has cast a long shadow over the world. The values of freedom, democracy, and human rights, once held dear by millions, have been trampled under the heel of Nazi boots. The world, shrouded in darkness and fear, teeters on the brink of a new dark age. The remnants of resistance, scattered and disorganized, fight on in the shadows. But their efforts are hampered by fear, paranoia, and the ever-present threat of Nazi reprisals. The spirit of defiance, once a beacon of hope, flickers dimly in the darkness, threatening to be extinguished entirely. The world has become a very different place. The familiar landmarks of the pre-war era have been replaced by symbols of Nazi power. The swastika, a hateful emblem of oppression, flies over conquered nations. The faces of Hitler and his cronies stare down from every street corner, a constant reminder of who is in control. The cultural landscape has been ravaged by Nazi ideology. This is the nightmare scenario, a stark reminder of what might have been, and a chilling warning about the fragility of the world we know.